all new. You're invited to my Japan world adventure. So much to do, so much to make, so much to hear. Find out what I really took away from the trip. Oh my God. And we're catching up with some of our favorite travel buddies. Next. Now, wherever you are, I just want you to breathe in and breathe out. Again, breathe in and breathe out. Good. Did anything change? Have you noticed what's around you? Who's around you? Have you checked in with yourself today? Today's show is all about my adventure I took to Japan, and that's just a little bit of what we worked on. Being present, and how that can affect you as an artist or as a human being. My team recently caught up with me to talk about my time in Japan and what I took away from it. Take a look. I must say that, this trip was pretty much the highlight of my summer. And let me tell you a few reasons why. One, it's a different culture. You get to experience a whole lot of different things. Two, it's a chance to get around different people who have a much better attitude than people in the United States. We'll get to that. And three, it was just fun. I got to go out of the country and get on a plane and fly 17 hours, which was crazy. But something that I took away from the trip was the impact gratitude and silence and actually sitting and meditating can have an impact on your mental ability and mental health. And that's something I want to talk about. The most memorable part was when we went to the Buddhist temple and we did meditation there. That was really one of the highlights because you guys actually get enveloped in the culture and actually sit on a pillow. I think we did it for 30 or 40 minutes, but sit on the pillow, we got to talk to a Buddhist monk. He went through all the procedures. Of course, we had a translator, but being able to sit there and go through their rituals and be basically enveloped in that culture and actually learning all the customs, because if you move, they hit you during meditation. They don't play. And so you have to really be focused in meditation in order for it to actually have an effect on you and your personal health. What I was shocked by was how nice people were. When you're here in America, you don't realize how nice people are until you run across a really, really nice person, because for the most part, we're all rude and self-centered, and that's something that I came to realize. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I came to realize on the trip that everybody is just so nice. Even if you didn't speak Japanese, even if you didn't understand what they were saying, you could still feel the kindness in the air. It was just in the air. And their culture, especially when you buy something, when you give them the money, it's not like in America, if you give them cash, it's just like here. But over there, you have to actually unfold it and give it to them nice and crisp. It's just a sign of respect over there, which I found really shocking and something that I continue to think about to this day. Coming back to the US, I mean, that first day, coming back off the flight from going from Japan and then seeing a Houston airport where it was just madness everywhere and a little bit of rudeness. I ain't gonna say who, but some of the workers at the airline. It was very shocking, and I had to adjust my spirit a little bit because it was a little shook. One thing I did take back from the trip was being knowledgeable of your feelings, and On the trip, I made my own self-discoveries of things that I wanted and acknowledging myself in a different way that I hadn't before. Over there, when sitting and meditating, you really got to sit with your thoughts, which is something like I did before the trip, because I did like meditation with my professor, Denise Gabriel. But over there, it was like an everyday thing, an everyday practice. We got up every morning. We went into meditation and we had to sit together and actually talk. And sometimes when we went on group trips, we walked or traveled in silence, which was very sometimes annoying and sometimes helpful because I didn't want to talk. But it was definitely something that I took back. And when I came back here, like that first, of course I was a little jet lagged because that first like 2 or 3 weeks I was waking up in Japan time, and my body was like waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning thinking it was 8. So it was just getting adjusted to that, and then getting readjusted back to my own culture, and with everybody saying,
"Oh, you're so different." I'm like, "Oh, well, I've been somewhere for 2 weeks, out of the country, had to readjust, sorry."
And then, when you come back, life takes its punches at you, and you have to deal with those. Like, there's some things that happened after I came back. It was like I had to readjust and reevaluate my choices. Some choices I probably wouldn't have made if I didn't go to Japan. The meditation aspect really helped in actually thinking things through. But you can't control life, and that's something that we talked about. You can't always control life. You can only control how you respond to it. And that's something that I took away from the trip, and I'm pretty sure everybody else had their own sense of reclaiming themselves or redefining themselves on the trip, and I found that very powerful. The most visually beautiful thing.
And your favorite dish in Japan.
Oh my God, they go together, honey. They go together. They go together. The most beautiful thing and the most delicious thing I ever had in Japan has got to be those maple donuts from Kabeya Kitchen. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I swear to you, I had a mouthgasm when I had those maple donuts. I went there every morning. I ain't gonna lie. I went there every morning. I wanted to take some on the plane, but I couldn't do that. But they had the most delicious maple donuts, I swear to God. And then when you heat them up, it's over. It's over. It is over. Like, it was the most delicious thing. And they were just so nice and fresh, because it was a fresh bakery. And oh my God, they had like some cheese Danish. I love a cheese Danish. They had a cheese Danish there. Like, I know people get excited about the ramen, but child, I'm a sweet baby. I can't do that. I got a sweet tooth. Aside from the food though, the Pixar exhibit in the Mori Art Museum, that was where they had different statues of Edna from Incredibles. We had the Monsters Inc. crew. It was different Pixar stuff. They had a whole exhibit, and even though all of it wasn't in English, I could still go around and explore. I had to take a cute little picture with Buzz. Oh, it was so nice. And I got to take a cute picture with Mike Wazowski and Sullivan. It was such a nice exhibit. I loved it. I really did. I would definitely recommend traveling abroad and studying abroad to everyone if you get the opportunity, because it's a tremendous opportunity. You get to learn new things, meet new people, and just have fun. Because the people I went on the trip with, I didn't know all of them. I only know one of them personally, and the other people were art students or with other theater students I didn't know. So just a mixture of group of people and getting to learn from them and see how other artists work was definitely a benefit for me from this trip, and I couldn't have asked for anything more. Up next, we're catching up with some of my friends that came with me on my world adventure. Don't go away. Closed captioning provided by the maker of the following product.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, bewitched, bejeweled, bedazzled all. with colors out of fairy tales. Silky topaz lips, be the colorless. Some fairy tales come true under the spell of you. Enchanted face, enchanted world. Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl.
All new. Tony Award winner Parker Perry on the drama behind Pippin. So we heard there was a big physical altercation backstage. So we thought you were all friends. And the real reason why Parker Perry walked away from the hit Broadway show. People were saying you were on drugs, you were in a mental institution. What is going on? And the big question, will he return to the Broadway show?
I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but here's what I want to do.
Be careful. You're on national television. And Academy Award winner Jasmine Marshall. The divorce. What happened? You both look so happy. Was that real? The truth. This is as honest as it gets.
It goes past the infidelity, past the lies. That was my breaking point.
Tomorrow. I caught up with Mar, Tina, and Kendall to talk about their favorite parts of the trip.
Oh gosh.
I think my favorite part about Japan
It was probably like how peaceful it was at night and just the people, because it was just real cool.
Watching everyone else interact with their surroundings.
getting to explore an area that I didn't know.
Even though like everybody was like real focused and it was like moving how they wanted to move, it was like they was still like mindful and courteous, so you know, like move around you if they have to. And it wasn't like they had to show no attitude like they do here.
The architecture and how inspiring that was.
The architecture was definitely like, it was like close. Like everybody was real close and everything was real short. So I didn't care for the architecture, but art-wise, everything was like real colorful and like very bright and popped out. Even their commercials, like they would have like cartoons in their commercials. It would be like real funny. Like it wasn't too commercial, like it was real formal.
Studio Ghibli is one of my all-time favorite things. I grew up watching all of those movies, seeing the different places in Japan that those were reflected off of was really sort of enlightening as an artist, as well as like me as an individual within a collective.
I think that's what I liked about their art too, and like about Japan in general. Like they still kept their culture intact. Although they have progressed in this 2019, it's like it's still a culture there, and they recognize it and respect it still.
Standing outside the building was just sort of a dream come true, even though somebody came out and was like, "What are you guys doing here?" I was just like, "I'm just trying to see the building." And so I took a picture of the placard and sent it to everybody I knew and was like, "Guess where I am?"
As an art major, I really enjoyed the art though.
When I do think back to Japan, I think of a still room.
Meditation is not something that I did pretty often beforehand.
Doing it in Japan, it was nice because it was like we had that 2-week practice. There were certain days where you like just didn't want to do it, but I guess that's like what the case with a lot of things.
Being able to wake up in a foreign country and kind of just have like a self-reflection and to really ground yourself in who you are and where you are.
You're just sitting. There's nothing else, just sitting.
I think it was just cool because we was in Japan, honestly, and it was like already a peaceful place. But I think like being here and meditating is not the same. Like it's like a chore.
Even when traveling, you can kind of get away from yourself. And I found meditation to be really helpful personally for me.
I've been trying to keep like my quarters, like my living space, like real tight and clean and orderly.
It definitely added a lot to the experience.
Not to say that I'm messy, but like sometimes like, remember we had to keep putting our shoes together. Like sometimes I wouldn't do that. I would just like throw my shoes in the line or however way. But now I kind of like make sure everything's tidy up. I haven't even meditated like that, probably like twice. But when I see Denise again, I'm gonna definitely try to get back into it. I like meditating with Denise. Trying to get that, like if you keep what's around you tight together, your soul and your inner peace will be tight together. I think that's like one of the things I took from it. Trying to communicate with people, because especially like in the train station.
I'm not very good with directions, but I got really good with directions really quickly.
old girl ended up helping me out, so that was good.
Just like the language difference, being able to understand everybody around me, being able to eavesdrop. In America, it's very, you can just go up and talk to strangers. Whereas in Japan, you can't really strike up a conversation or be like, hey, isn't this funny? Or, oh, can you help me with this? You have to really think on your feet on how to like communicate with people around you. So when I came back to America, it was just kind of like, oh, things are very simple now because I can just ask for help if I need it.
In ordering food, you had to like point at the menu. You didn't really know what things was. All right, we're gonna start off with the breakfast because the breakfast just was not enough to get the day started.
Oh, yummy. I mean, I've eaten Japanese food my entire life.
I was so mad. I was mad hungry. They gave us like salad, a hard-boiled egg, not even two pieces of toast, one piece of toast, orange juice, and tea.
Bread shops. So many bread shops. Just bread. I love bread. It's amazing.
There was no protein. They didn't even have no cereal or nothing.
Oh, and the maple donuts. The maple donuts were to die for.
I don't know. I didn't really care for like dining food, like going out to restaurants. I thought the eel was steak.
Whenever I had a stressful day trying to get back, maple donuts were hot and ready for me at the train station.
But the food, I think it was like cool to like go to like the stores. Like I eat junk food, so like eating their candies and stuff was real fire.
I would say it was easy. It wasn't hard traveling with a bunch of people I didn't know.
At first, being in a group environment over in a foreign country, I thought it was going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of get used to personalities, or especially since I hadn't met anyone before.
Oh, you're doing your thing, I'm doing this thing, these things relate, these things don't necessarily relate, but we're all taking the time to learn different practices and figure out how we can bring them together.
Honestly, it was a really interesting group and a really good group. And by the end of it, like I made just so many connections that, I don't know, I just didn't think I would make as many, but I did, and it was a really good experience for me.
That was the best birthday. I guess it was just the phrase 10 turns 20 in Tokyo had so much nice alliteration to it. We made bracelets with a renowned jewelry designer, Tomoko. She was just a really humble lady, and I was like, how do you make jewelry for Beyonce and then be humble about it? But she was, and she was really great. It's nice to sort of experience your birthday in a completely different world. Also, I didn't realize that I was going to be getting a cake, so they surprised me with a cake, and it said my name and everything, spelled correctly, so that was nice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Almost every week, I'm like, I need to go back there. I crave it.
I love Japan. I don't know if I would live there though.
The whole experience was just so beautiful.
Luke's my little bro. I still talk to Alan like every now and again. Not like, I talked to him like twice since we left. Yeah, I miss Luke. That's my boy. He's been doing skate camp. You follow him on Instagram? Yeah, he's been doing skate camp. That's cool though. Thank you for teaching me and taking the time out to really explain like how the culture was. That's more so to Alan and them and Luke, but to the teachers also a big thank you.
Just wandering is enough. You don't even have to buy anything. Just wandering in Japan and trying to just get the whole grasp of what you're feeling around you. The energy is totally different, and it's really refreshing, I'd say. And I'm definitely excited to go back, and I will be back. I will be back.
Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey guys, I love everything that everyone is saying. It is all true and factual. I also forgot to mention that during the trip, Denise and I had a conversation about me as an individual and me as an artist. And through that conversation, I discovered myself through a different lens as an artist. Recently, I've been getting into video and photo editing, and over the summer after the trip, I really got into it and just did a whole bunch of different edits, because I've always loved like old TV shows and old movies, and I've always wanted to see myself in them, and I actually put myself in the picture, and that's something that this summer really sunk in for me. And I want to thank Denise for that conversation, thank for this trip, because I really got a sense of who I was as an artist and really found my true passion in that way. I never saw myself in that light before the trip, and I want to thank the organizers of this trip for helping me discover that overseas, because that has made a tremendous difference in my life right now. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for listening. Call me when you get a chance. Bye.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Arigato gozaimasu to you all. Thank you for watching. A big thanks to the Gilman Scholarship Program, for without them, I would not have been able to afford this trip. And also thank you to Denise Gabriel and Barbara Campbell-Thomas, who have set up this trip with UNCG Study Abroad. I love you all for watching. At home, thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Just for today, I will not worry what tomorrow will bring. Oh, no. I'm gonna try something new and walk through this day like I got nothing to prove. Yeah. Although I have the best intentions, can't predict anyone's reactions, so I just do my best. I put one foot in front of the other and keep on moving forward and let God do the rest. Hey, I don't know what's gonna happen, that's alright with me. I open up my arms and I embrace the mystery. I don't know what's gonna happen, that's alright with me. I open up my arms and I embrace the mystery. Yeah, just for today.
For more information on the Gilman Scholarship, go to gilmanscholarship.org. And for more information on the Study Abroad program at UNCG, go to studyabroad.uncg.edu.